Good morning, everybody. Does everyone know the TTC? Who we are? May not know. Not so famous in the world yet. I hope yet. The TTC is the Japanese standards bodies. We are much smaller than the Bernard's organizations compared with the ICTs. It's so far the domestic standards organization. So in that sense, that quite similar to the ISAC, which the GM is the heading. And but now the TTC recently raised the hand as the primarily PSO. PSO stands for the Private Standardization Organization in GSC. GSC is the GSC must be known by most of the people, global standard collaboration. And that usually have the annual meeting together and to discuss the direction of the standards and how to cooperate among the around 10 private standards organizations like us, ETSI, and including ITU. And the raised hands to the primary or responsible or conducting the PSO for this subject, specific subject, ICTs and Climate Change. But the GSC will change the name a bit. Maybe the ICTs and Environment. Based on the proposal of Jim, for example, we may have some different name, but the target is the same thing. Okay, then as you see my title, we had this first symposium in Kyoto, and then my intention of my presentation here today was to bring the result of the Kyoto Symposium to relate to the standard activities and try to get your consensus to push Malcolm, the director of the ITU, to adapt the way which we are now sharing the opinions. But as everybody aware that yesterday already, at the reception, he mentioned that most of the part of my presentation from now I'd like to do already covered. He said that he promised to make his best to put into the standards area. So from that sense, I have no reason to be here, and I can contribute for the discussion. But the only one reason might be that there are the audiences through the website who could not attend yesterday's excellent reception. So for them, I'd like to rephrase what we are going to do in standards area. Okay, so this is a summary of my presentation in Kyoto. I talked about the CO2 calculation. And first one, this is the Japanese number, the ICT section, including the broadcasting, including the TV set, emitting the 30 million ton roughly. And of course, we are not directly, let's say, consuming the CO2. We are just eating the power, electric power, but electric power is usually converted to CO2, and this coefficient number, I wrote this one after I took the several beers, so I checked this number this morning after my beer is out, and then my colleague said it's wrong. So it's not 1.5, but 0.41 in Japanese last year, the coefficient. Because that in Japan, we have been, the power utility companies have been producing this number as an annual basis. Because this usually differs depending on the atomic the power utility, how much that year the atomic power utility is used, because atomic power plant is not so stable. Sometimes it has to be stopped for the maintenance or for the repairment, etc. So this number is varying. So every year we have the report from the industry of the power utility companies, and then use this number. And then, anyway, this is the 68 megaton is the reduce of the ICT effect. So then what I said in Kyoto is that the 38 millitons of CO2 is the plus or minus or the effect of the total plus and minus. And that they contribute the, in Japanese case that according to the Kyoto Protocol, Japan promised to reduce 6% of the total energy from the 1990. But this 38 milliton is equal to roughly the 3% of the 1990. So ICT could contribute half of the reduction efforts. It's great. But next slide, I also used at the Kyoto meeting. This calculation is very easy, but who believes and why? Today, even yesterday, some already made a question alive using that, although it's student questions, but they try to find out the calculation mechanism. I think it's not a student question at all, because the methodology is valid. And today, someone is using just the usage, and someone is using the life cycle assessment, whole life cycle. So these kind of things we have to clearly define. And even the methodology is valid in Japan. In Europe, how about it? In the US, in European countries. And if within ICT, we could reach to the unanimous agreement on the methodologies, then from other sectors, for example, the train companies or airline companies, could they agree on? Because for the reducing the travel, that means to reduce their income. So these kind of things. So the calculation is very easy, but we do need standard for this methodology. Otherwise, no one outside of ICT industry would believe us. So then this is the messages from Kyoto, and these are repeated. So then I don't need to go in detail. So first one is that for energy saving systems and application, ITU should something, and standardization is needed. And then in Kyoto, we propose that the ITU should establish a focus group on these issues. And TSB collect the terms of reference for the focus group to start it as early as possible. And I wanted to push this again to Malcolm back. As I mentioned, he already accepted this one. So, and the proposed focus scopes of focus group, we are now discussing internally with the interested organizations like British Telecom. So we agreed to establish the common methodology, and in the two areas, according to the Malcolm's words, it's a direct impact. It's, in another word, it's how to reduce the power consumption, as Yuji was mentioning, by using, for example, the checklist and including other new areas or new items be covered by study group 15, for example. And the other way is that the area is the indirect impacts. That means the CO2 savings supported by the ICT. This calculation method should be standardized. And I would like to explain that the Japanese methodology here, the calculation method, as I mentioned, is very simple. The energy consumption reduction, total one, is the reduction effect by ICT minus the consumption of ICT itself. And I will give you the one example that take the example of the face-to-face meeting versus the video conference. And everyone, most of, we are hearing the similar things in many presentations. But in this case, between Tokyo and Yokohama, and who may not know where the Tokyo and Yokohama, it's very close, almost the next city in Japan. And the distance is just 30 kilometers, very short. We don't need any flyover to other city. So then the estimation is that we'll have the 1 hour meeting for every week. That means 48 times a year, 1 hour meeting, just a short meeting. And each place we have the 2 person gathering there. So in the case of the face-to-face meeting, the 2 person should move to the other end by using the train. And we did the life cycle assessment. I think that the life cycle assessment is essential. Why? I will explain you or show you here. Here you see the business trip, left-hand side, and the video conference side is the right-hand side. So you see the different colors, and the dark red one is the energy for the usage stage only. But if you see here, the production is that how to produce the energy to produce the fiber optics or the equipment or this kind of the personal computers, including the displays, etc. So in the case of the video conference, you see within 30 kilometers in a short range, the production, the percentage is around 80% of the total the energy. And then we also need to consider about the disposal. So in the case of the train, because the train many people are using, and it's the life is quite long. So in the case of the train, the most of the energy consumed is the usage part. So this kind of difference. So then they calculate in 30 kilometers distance, the reduction is roughly the 50%. But if we only take into account the usage part, it's 93%. So which value we should take, we have to decide. And in this case, we definitely think that life cycle assessment is mandatory. So this is number one we have to agree on at the focus group. Okay, so this is the summary of the focus group. The reduction methodology of ICT energy and the calculation methodology of other sectors' energy consumption saved through ICT utilization. These 2 things we already have been discussing. And one thing more I would like to add, this is my personal but strong opinion, is that the public relationship, or in another word, a kind of ambassador to other sectors, will have to be needed, because we are trying to convince other sectors people to use ICT in order to reduce the carbon monoxide. So then, if we talk about these kind of things only inside of our community and then establish the standards, then does not have outside influence. The outside people, since simply don't know, they will not be able to start to widely utilize the ICT technologies instead of the face-to-face meeting, etc. Because face-to-face meeting, it's easier to have the reception. But so far, through TV conference, no reception type. We cannot share the food, at least. Okay, so this is a summary of how to start the focus group. And TISA will be held the beginning of the next month, July. And TISA hopefully will agree on form the focus group. And the focus group will start immediately after the TISA. And then hopefully we'll have the face-to-face meeting with this kind of audio conference or TV conference capability in order to reduce the energy. And that should be early this year. And then we don't know, the focus group will start with the open member, not only the ITU member, but also the other sectors should be invited there. But what would be the focus group outcome? We are not sure yet. And then what kind of recommendation the approval process would be needed is still not open because we don't know what kind of outcome would come. So then the TSAG is the mechanism for discussing this kind of things. So TSAG will continue to discuss how to utilize the outcome of the focus group widely to cooperate as a world, including our efforts. Thank you very much.